As far as the general escape clause is concerned, as you know, in the communication that we published at the beginning of March, it was already clear the criteria that we are using and that we will transform in decision when we will adopt the spring package of the semester, and this will happen at the end of this month, more or less. And this decision that we anticipated in several meetings is that we will keep the general escape clause there until the end of 2022. And then we, of course, will consider the evolution of the situation to understand if there are conditions. But on the basis of this forecast, the general escape clause will remain in place until the end of 2022. The forecast for Spanish growth in 21 and 22 are positive. We factored in also the amount of a certain amount of, well, the amount of grants that is projected to be used in 21 and 22. In particular, 12 billion for 21 and 22 billion for 22. But of course, it will take some time until the project advances to a stage where expenditure will effectively take place. And so it is possible that the impact on economic activity of the contribution of the RRF plan will be stronger in 22 than in 21. As far as the measures taken from the government, the decision taken to cushion the impact of the crisis were very strong. Short work schemes, payment moratoria, public guarantees, and more recently the direct aid package for SMEs. We always recommend to avoid lifting abruptly and prematurely this kind of measures. And so uncertainty is linked essentially to implementation of the plan and what is the challenge for all member states, the path and the coordination of withdrawal of supportive measures. Of course, we need to find the right balance in the coming months and couple of years. Because from one side, I repeat a little bit obsessively, we should avoid the premature withdrawal of supportive measures, because this could have social and business and financial impact that we are able to avoid, and so we should avoid. Then, of course, there is the possibility to strengthen the support to economies, but these decisions taken by member states are not the same thing that saying that now we are preparing a next generation EU number 2. These are two very different issues, and we understand the efforts in member states to support their economies, and we are now committed to the implementation of the Recovery and Resilience Facility and of Next Generation EU. The possibility of a future investments is not something that we have to discuss, but it is something based on the success of what we have already decided since March 2020. And this is the main issues we are concentrated on. As always, these estimates are broadly also discussed with member states. As far as the inclusion in this forecast, I think we should consider the fact that the cutoff date of this forecast was April the 30th, which, by the way, was also the indicative deadline for submission of plans. So I think, and I want also to congratulate DG ECFIN for the effort that was made. In a very short time, we were able to include the presumed amount of grants in these 2 years. And as I said, this is more or less 40% of the general amount of grants. This means that, of course, countries that will use loans will have also further impact to their potential growth, but also further challenges in the implementation of the plans, of course. What I want to repeat, and I said it before, is that we were able to include this 40% of grants that are in the plans in these 2 years, but not yet, of course, the overall impact of this use. And so we can be also, from this point of view, rather optimistic that if well implemented, the mix of reform and investment could have an even stronger impact because of the fact of the loans and because of the indirect effect of the grants. If we compare the forecast that we have with the winter forecast, there is growth is higher than predicted for 2022. And we have a forecast of the Portuguese growth of 5.1%, which is over the average of the EU and the euro area. So this is, I think, a very good perspective for the Portuguese economy. Of course, we know that the impact of the crisis, especially affecting some sectors, for example, international tourism, will have some impact, and in some way, this is the reason why the forecast of growth is speeding up year after year, because the starting point is not easy, especially because of the influence of some sectors. As far as the timing of the Commission is concerned, well, the decision of having 2 months was a decision taken by the all member states together. What are we doing in these 2 months? Well, fine-tuning of different details that are needed in the plans, especially for plans where discussion were ongoing since a long time. And then we have to transform these plans in legal documents for implementing decision. This is, both things are challenging. We are working very hard, and we have as a target to propose this implementing decision, so approve this implementing decision in the College in the second half of June, which is for several member states less than 2 months. very briefly on Spain, I think I repeat that the growth perspective for Spain in this forecast is very positive. Indeed, we can see some differences from the assessment, as in practically all these forecasts, from the assessment of the government and our own assessment. The point is that we consider that we will need some time until the projects that are included will advance to a stage where expenditure will effectively take place. So this is the difference, especially in the timing that we see in this perspective of growth. As far as the quality is concerned, of course, we are assessing the plans now. And so it is not the case to give any assessment from my side of the plans. What is clear is that the plans that were formally submitted were plans that were broadly considering our overall vision and strategy, because otherwise we would have encouraged not to formally submit them. But this broad convergence with our strategic goals is not an assessment on the plans. The assessment is ongoing now. On the Italian issue, I'll begin in English about the inflation. I think that the message about inflation is rather clear, that we estimate to have a peak that then will moderate, 1.7 towards 1.3 if we look to the euro area. And of course, this is crucial for inflation. This doesn't mean that we should not monitor very closely the problem, because, of course, this is something very strongly debated in the US, but this is at the moment what all the data we have brings us to estimate.
Thank you.
We are working with the new enhanced program. As always, I have to say, very positively cooperating with the Greek authorities. The perspective of growth is, of course, a good one. It's 4%, 4.1% this year and 6% next year. And this is referring to a country where, again, we told this already for another country before, the impact of the difficulties in the tourism sector is international, mainly tourism sector, is particularly high. And this impact will be hopefully strongly reduced in the next season. We will have a much better tourist season, but it will not be completely cancelled. I think we are all aware of this. And also from this point of view, I think that we have a good forecast, slightly lower than the one of the Greek authorities, because we gave perhaps stronger consideration to the impact of the stringency restrictions measure that were in the first quarter of this year. But overall, the perspective is a good one. And as you know, the general escape clause applies also to the targets of the Greek program. And so I think that this is a period of very important activity for Greece to regain momentum in its own growth. Thank you.
Thank you. This brings us to the end of this press conference. As I said, don't hesitate to reach out to me and Enda directly. Grazie, Commissario. Thanks to all of you who have participated, the colleagues who have set it up, translators, and I now leave you to the college readout.
We have an Italian connection here.
Yes, we do.